Guys gonna have an order and plus Jesus, I'll hand it over. Oh,
I'd like to go ahead and just chair the meeting.
do you want to share it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. So
Here, I'll call the order first. Okay, we'll call to order the Yreka City Council meeting for June 22nd, 2023, 6:30 p.m. And then I will hand it over to Councilman Baker.
thank you so much, Mayor Middleton. I would like to call the Yreka Communications Ad Hoc Committee meeting to order, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I'm suffering from some allergies. So if it's all right with everybody, I would just like to go ahead and waive the reading of the purpose of the committee. It's there in writing. And I would just like to encourage people to silence their cell phones. This meeting is a little less formal than city council meetings. So we love public participation. The only thing that I ask from the public is that with your comments, please use a microphone and state your name because the meeting is being recorded. So with that, I'll go ahead and open it for public comments. Is there any public comments?
Lorenzo Love. I want to talk about the underutilization of Facebook again. The city spent what, $10,000 in Gold Rush?
That's correct, yeah.
And nothing on the city Facebook page. Not a word about it. Nothing about Highway 3 reconstruction, road closures. Nothing at all about that. 4th of July is coming up. Fireworks is banned. Nothing on the Facebook page about that. These are simple things that could help inform the public. Just put it on Facebook, make it shareable, and it can be all over Facebook then. The agendas. The city does the legal bare minimum to notify the public of agendas. Not very many people look at the agenda center. A case in point is look at the January 19th fire ad hoc committee. Look and see what that agenda says. It's not for the fire. It's not for the fire department ad hoc committee. It's the wrong agenda written. Nobody saw it. It's been there for months. Not even city staff reads the agenda center. If you just put the agendas on Facebook, far more people would see it. You'd get more participation if that's what you want. If you don't want people to come to meetings, keep on doing like you're doing, and nobody knows about it because not very many people will actually read the agenda center. Thought you wanted communication, but maybe not.
Thank you. Any other public comment? So item 3, public comment follow-up. This is the time for city council or the city manager to respond to public comments and may direct staff to prepare a report or place an item on a future agenda.
Yeah, I'd love to respond a little bit. And I think that's really the intent of this meeting over the next, I think that we'll have at least 10 more after tonight, is actually writing down some bullet points on what we are trying to attempt to resolve. And so your feedback's important and we should be discussing those items. And when it comes to the posting of the agenda, that's where things get a little hairy, because if we start doing something, and that's going to be the council's decision, or through the communication strategy first and then going to the council. But if we start doing something, the expectation is that now it's legally binding, right? If you were posting it here and you've always been posting it there, and then you stop and only do the minimum, you can be held accountable for that. And so it's not the end of the world. If that's what the council wants us to do, we can certainly more than likely facilitate. But I think we're hearing you loud and clear. You'd like to see better use of Facebook. And I think that's what we're looking for here at some point. And we'll get deeper into some of the backup that we have tonight. But I think we may be veering a little bit. And I think we might want to exercise either tonight or at the next meeting. What is our intent? And because there's communication strategies and policies in here from other locations, and they're huge. And they reference that where they're going to create a new department, and we're not going to do that. I don't think so. We have to get real concise on. I think the first question, and I think Lorenzo brings it up for me, is what communication is not getting disseminated at the moment? What are we trying to solve? What is the policy here? When do we go out to Facebook? What items just are naturally out there? For me, they're this guy's projects for public works, right? It's like, and then ultimately too, we technically outlawed fireworks, so we probably should be promoting that at the moment because we're coming to the 4th of July. And I agree, Gold Rush, we're just in a position at the moment where I think that we're trying to add a new clerk position where we would alleviate the duties for Retta to focus more on the bread and butter of getting major money in for us and doing big projects. And then I see that clerk position, if approved at the budget, being our communications person essentially, and really following the policy that we draft here to do exactly what you're talking about. Hit Facebook. It's just automatic. We know that you are going to post this type of information on this regular basis. So, but nobody is disagreeing with you. So.
Thank you. Mayor Middleton, did you have any comments?
I guess then the main thing is getting people to like the city Facebook page. That's another challenge, to have our citizens that are on Facebook is like the page, so we can post the information all day long. But if only, I don't know how many people, anybody know how many people like the city Facebook page? Okay. So that's a big thing to push citizens to follow.
Good point.
Because if no one's following it and we're pushing information, they're not going to see it unless other people who do like the page share it.
I can dig in later on my desk, but it looks currently that we've got about 2,400 followers. And typically, because of the reach of the city Facebook page isn't great yet, we cross post to the grapevine, and that immediately hits like 30,000-40,000 people.
Right.
So that's really where all of our public works posts in the past, like last year when we were out on the street on Main Street doing the water and sewer, I was really on it, and that's me doing it because we don't have a PIO, we don't have someone else to do it. So throwing them together in our projects. So right now I don't have anything on Main Street. We've got a lot in the pipe that are coming with engineering that's like boring from you. I mean, it's not boring to everybody, but a lot of it's just down in the trenches of the engineering right now. But there are huge things coming. Jason's already tasked me with coming up with some more of those. I did a 3-minute soundbite voiceover thing back with Measure C that people talked about for a year. They're like, oh, I heard about it because I saw your voiceover. Oh, does that work? So definitely getting back to that with our projects. I agree with Lorenzo. People see that the lane closures and things like that, I have no control over. We don't even know until it happens. Really, we have that kind of thing. But definitely cross posting over from the city page to the grapevine, and even grabbing the Caltrans post if District 2 would get their PIO stuff a little bit more robust, which we're working on. Juliana and I have been working with the PIO there, Caltrans and rehab. And Ben's going to the Wednesday meetings with Cindy. So I think that's gonna start rolling. We'll start seeing some more coming from the Yreka rehab center. I agree with it. It's the cross posting to Facebook, or the grapevine, because that's where the followers are. So we never really put a lot of time and effort into trying to build the reach of our page beyond what we're at now, because if I throw up something and then just cross post it, I just hit 40,000 people.
Right.
And I think they'd rather talk on the grapevine than go to the city.
Thanks, Matt.
But yeah, and I just want to kind of jump in on top of that too, is that, I think a couple months ago, the north end of town, all of a sudden the intersection there at 263 and 3 was gone. It was ripped out and nobody notified us. And that just really kind of pushed a whole chain of events that we had some interesting conversations with Caltrans, and now we are engaged on a weekly email from them, and we are engaged on a weekly meeting. But I think it was kind of obvious when they showed up here. You'll remember them in the last few months. 3 of them showed up, and they did not really have any information to share with us on what was happening. It was like they did not comprehend that we would like to be able to post their information on our site, because we know we're going to get hammered by the public. Why is this happening? When is this going to be rectified? And so we're working on fixing that, but inevitably some of these other agencies, it's very difficult to get them to get us the exact information on when this road is closing and when it's going to reopen. But we are attempting to work to get that information out to the public, because we're trying to save ourselves and save the city council from the headache of that happening and people not knowing. So.
Thank you, Mr. Ledbetter. So, Mr. Love, I agree with you, and I would just encourage you to be patient with us as we work through all of this. And I really do appreciate both you and Ms. Audrey being here to help us develop this. So just bear with us. I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, if there's no other public comment or public comment follow-up, I'm going to move on to item 4, old business. And it should be noted that we are pulling item B from the agenda tonight. So item A is the demonstration of C-Clicks Fix by our Public Works Director, Mr. Matt Bray.
Okay, so I didn't put much of anything together. I wasn't exactly sure what all you had seen before. I know Retta walked you through kind of the background desktop stuff of C-Click Fix, which I'm the primary admin of that program. Just because there was no one else to do it, like the PIO. If we had a PIO, that would be that person probably. But I guess, what are your questions on C-Click Fix? Do you have a pretty solid understanding of why we purchased the program?
I actually do now because of the information that was provided to us at the last communications meeting.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So in a nutshell, C-Click Fix, being its third-party app out there in the world by itself, also talks to our asset management program, which ties to our GIS layers. So we've been mapping the city electronically with GIS, geographical information system. It's pretty commonplace these days. Most folks understand it, I think. But we've fed over the last, Retta, when did we start this? 10 years ago? When we had the dream of GIS?
Oh, of asset management.
9-10 years ago, we were dreaming of asset management. We're there. So we've mapped out enough to where it's its own living, breathing, organic thing, right? This GIS is never done. Every time my guys go to the field and work, they log their time through the asset management system and it tallies. So if they go out and work on this sewer pipe and it's Bill and Joe, they're basically logging into that sewer pipe and logging out of it and attaching all the parts that they physically attach to it in the ground electronically. And it pulls from our inventory stores down at the yard and it populates my reorder points. So on the inventory side, I'm working on dumping fleet management in there. We got 160 some odd pieces of equipment. A lot of those trucks, those service trucks have their own inventory. So all of that lays in, truck 367, bay 1, the toolbox 1 has 6 water meter parts. Those have a value. Those are in the inventory. They're in a sub inventory to the main inventory, which have reorder points that I've set. So when we get down to 6, the computer sends Ben an email and he double checks it. So the computer's not ordering physically, but it'll send Ben an email and he will either accept or deny the purchase order and then process the purchase order. And he might talk to Tyler, he might talk to Kevin or the guy that is on the truck, like, hey, do you think we still need 6 of these? So we've done this massive overhaul of inventory control. I have a past inventory control down at Pfeiffer when it was Norco, and millions of dollars on my desk back then too. And it was all about inventory carrying costs because the folks out here are paying for all the parts that we have at the yard to keep their water going. So that all ties back into the rate studies and everything, right? So keep the costs low, run lean. Really, the C-click fix is all a part of this. It sounds like I'm going off on a tangent, but if Bill and Joe log into the sewer pipe or whatever that thing that they're working on is, the public now has the opportunity to come through the C-click fix side without having to understand or even know that we have the asset management behind us. They can say, there's a pothole, here's a picture of the pothole, and then that fires directly from their request. I get an email, I get every single C-click fix, I double check, it's just a habit. If I see it pop up, I immediately see it. If it's certain calls, I will get on the phone immediately and call Ben. Say, hey, did you see that one come through? Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. All right, kick that to Tyler, give that one to Kevin. Let's get that one right now. So in the instance that we have the parts in stock and we can go do that thing and schedule it in, we do. So in our world, my dream, along with having a GIS system and asset management as a whole, was no more sticky notes. Because I used to work at the yard and literally someone would come to the counter and say, there's a pothole in front of my house on North Street, 812 North Street. Someone at the counter up here would write it down on a sticky note and go stick it to my inbox that got to me 2 days later. And so now it's for those, and it's the reach thing, like we talked about with Facebook. It's the communications thing again. It's everybody has one of these. And if they care enough, they can download the app. It's very simple. You can find it on our website. You can just Google C-click fix and it'll know, it'll find you. You punch in Yreka. And the beauty of C-click to me is that forward facing, I mean, the public doesn't have to know all of the work that's coming in and going out. They just care about the one they complained about, that they brought up, their issue. I hate to say complained about. The issue they brought up. There's a pothole in front of my house. You guys haven't fixed it in 2 years. Come on, do this. And it just populates in my email. But the beautiful thing is when you get used to it, and staff doesn't use it. It's not designed for staff. We let if you do call City Hall, the sticky notes on the wall are gone now. Yesenia, any of the ladies that answer the phones up front, fire up C-click. They have it up all day long and they'll just punch it in for you. So you don't have to go to C-click. I'm going to get it through C-click, but it's an internal thing. So it'll say, they'll get their phone number. It's Susan at 812 North Street. And she said, this is happening. And then it comes in internally. So we still have a reach back contact. In that instance, the system itself doesn't auto populate a reply when we're done, because when Joe and Bill are done working on this thing over here and they close the job in Cartograph, our asset management, it back feeds to C-click fix and closes it there. And then C-click fix emails the person that brought up the issue. So it's the seamless behind the scenes work, like I say, with the inventory and everything. But I think it's quite literally once you download the app, C-click fix, it brings you to the main page. You hit new request. If you have your location on, it knows where you are on your phone. I keep mine off because it's battery draining thing, but it knows where you are if you want. If not, you drag the screen around and zoom in and out to where you want to put the the item that you're talking about. And then, so it's, you pick that. And then it asks you, after you pick that location, confirm it. And then you hit the confirm location. And then it comes up with a list, a populated list. It says abandoned vehicle, abandoned vacant property issue, animal requests / inquiry, building violation, housing code violations, hydrant issue, nuisance on property, odor, other parks, playgrounds and recreation areas, private property issue, sewer issue, street sign issue, streets issue, water issue, and weed abatement. So that list, when we built this app, when we first got it, we pared down everything that we do. We pared down every sticky note I'd ever gotten. And we tried to get this down so it's, you're not endlessly scrolling to find, it's just a pothole. I just want to tell them it's a pothole. So there's multiple places in here they can dump it in, and really it gets to me. I see every single one anyway. So if you were to download the app and go through the buttons and you clicked accidentally on abandoned vehicle and said pothole in front of your house, I know that that's been misassigned because I look at every single one. But yep. And then it just, so you confirm your location and you tell it it's a pothole, and then it gives you the option to take a photo or not. You can just say no photo. And if you want to type in potholes been here for 2 years, you guys are horrible streets people, you should do your job better, you can say that and then hit next and then submit. So it's like you turn your phone on and it's like 5 or 6 things. You just tap, 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 and it feeds you right through it. And really that's all we sold to the public when we brought C-Click was out. The whole point of C-Click in their app is ease of use. Nobody cares how Ben and I and Kevin and everybody get the thing done. They just want it done. They want the pothole done. Some of these get hung up. Code enforcement issues get hung up. I think the police department was a little bit leery at the beginning. I know they were leery at the beginning because they have their own reporting system. They have their own tracking that they have to do by law. It's totally different than tracking how many potholes Ben filled last year, right? So with code enforcement, I still do see those two because I'm the main admin. But it's, they come in and then they'll sit. And so we learned over time that those that sit have to be answered at least, because the C-Click system will leave it as a green dot. It won't turn it red for done. If Jason and the council and everyone's in the background and having meetings about, whatever that private property issue was with a house that burnt down, and it's going to take a year to get through, receivership or things of that nature. So we go through occasionally and try to clean those up and at least make sure that if it's going to hang, if it's not something that we can get to immediately or within a week or, a reasonable amount of time for the request, that we'll go in there and type in a little note. We've got some canned replies that we use just so we don't have to remember what we said last time. Those are populated in there. We can click on those, or Ben or I will sit there and actually respond directly to Fred, the guy that sent the thing. Say, hey, Fred, thanks for using C-Click. This is why we're not going to fix it in the next 2 weeks or 3 months, but we're going to call this issue closed. But we're not going to forget about you. It's still in the system. So there is still a very human touch to the app when utilized correctly. Right. So, and then we have some folks that like to get on there and just walk up their street when they're walking their dog, and they're just pothole, 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 pothole. And we just get splattered like shotgun blasts of potholes occasionally. So we'll reach directly to those folks if they didn't sign in as an anonymous user, which you can do on C-Click. And that was a decision the city made at the time we brought the app in, was if you as a neighbor and you have a bad neighbor and you want to report your bad neighbor's lawn or abatement, you don't want them to know it was you. So you can make, right. So the anonymity it's worthwhile to the citizens. It's a hindrance for us at times, but I understand it. And I agree with the anonymity. I'm not going to rat out, if I live next door to the mayor, I'm not going to rat out Corey for not, the weeds in his back, and then it's over the fence when we're both home from work, like, hey man, what the hell was that you just like called me out of publicly. So I get that. So the anonymity portion is purposeful. But like I say, you download the app from the website or C-Click Fix and search up Yreka. It takes a little bit, just like any other app. And then it guides you through it. There's 5 or 6 steps, blah, 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 and it's instantaneous. And then it feeds all, there's a lot. There's a lot that feeds in there that we do in the background. And I really like that talk back and forth between not only the third-party program Cartograph, which is our asset management system. It ties directly back to C-Click, but then C-Click was recently purchased. Since we purchased the app, it was recently purchased by Civic Plus, who are the owners of our website and our employee portals, and like the whole, that's all running on Civic Plus now. So they're now an umbrella of a company we already have. So it takes away one layer. So it's still one phone call to Civic Plus and say, I got a C-Click problem. I got to figure this out on the admin side. So I could talk all night, but it's very simple. And it works well. I don't even have sticky notes in my office. I think I keep one little one for the odd time where I'm sending something out across inter-office and I'm like, this is from Matt, and then that's it. But it's been years of not, I know I saw that piece of paper come across my desk the other day and it had her number on it and we were supposed to go do that. And so it really helps guys like Ben and Tyler when they're running crews to just, and all the guys in the field have it on their phone. They can see it through the Cartograph side. The contact information's there if the citizen left it. So the actual guy on the street, if he's turning water off, doesn't have to go knock on the door. You can call them right there, text them right there, however they want to be notified. So we really like it. It was a hurdle to get it up and running. It was a hurdle to get people to utilize it. I don't know. You're talking to government, right? They're like, this is going to go on deaf ears. Nobody's going to look at this. And I took that to heart from the very beginning. Like, I'm going to set this so I get every single email and I'm taking this thing to heart. So we do listen, just like anybody that comes to the counter, we're going to listen to your concerns. We're going to do the very best we can, find the parts, get it done as quick as we can, and within scheduling everything else that we're doing on the daily,
Well, thank you. Corey, do you have any questions, comments?
Just a comment is, I don't know, you probably received calls because we do have lives outside of here, so I remember getting calls from people and they'd be telling me about something. I said, well, I'm about ready to drop my bananas at the check stand. I will forget, but here's a great, and they write it down and then they say, oh, great. I didn't know about it. So several people haven't, I've only been on for 2.5 years, but several people did not know about it. And so I tell them to go there and then they call and say, oh, thank you so much. That was so easy, because I said, I'm not going to remember. I'm trying to check out, and so it's been great just to refer them to there. And they've said, oh, that was easy. Great. Thank you. So
yeah, one of our largest
it's been
lifts,
great.
getting it off the ground, one of our largest lifts was council when they're at the grocery store. Exact same story. It's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
don't tell me, you can do it this way.
Yeah.
And it'll actually get to the people that do the work. So
Yeah.
that was a big push. from
Yeah.
the
So
council.
that's been
So
great.
we had support there.
Yeah.
That's all my,
So
that's it.
I am sorry.
No, that's it.
I apologize. I'm new at this. Any public comment? Can you use the mic, Lorenzo, please? Thanks.
Matt, don't we have some cards with C-Click Fix that they can hand out at the grocery store?
Oh, with a QR code?
We have some
I'm-
business cards about C-Click Fix. I
Oh,
thought.
okay. I wasn't aware of those. Or I was and I forgot. I should have C-clicked myself.
It's okay. I'm still learning too after a few minutes of forgetting. So
Yeah, I recommend this all the time. I just recommended it a couple hours ago. Somebody was complaining about Tree of Heaven breaking up sidewalks and causing damage. And I said, if it's on public sidewalk or a roadway, put it on see-click fix. It, you know, I don't expect something like that to have very high priority. It might be months, years before you get to it, but yeah, I recommend it all the time. It's a good program.
That's great. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Matt, it seems like it's, obviously you're very excited about this tool. It seems like it works really well. I know I've implemented new software programs, had to build them from the ground up, so I know how much work can go into this. But what I really, really like is that there is so much human contact. I mean, I would hate for us to get to the point where somebody comes in and says, oh, there's a pothole in front of my house. Sorry, you have to report it this way. And so I'm just really happy to hear that that's not the case. So
And that's
Good
been since
job.
day one. Just, you know, I'll plug it in there. If someone tells me, it depends on who it is. Some folks, I'm just not gonna say, "Oh, pull out your smartphone." Someone like my parents who aren't gonna do it, you know? So yeah, they're definitely it's not a robocall. It's not a
Yeah.
dead-ended robocall. Yeah.
thank you. Mr. Ledbetter, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I think there were possibly some questions last time about kind of the responses, and I think Matt went over those, but that was kind of, I recall, maybe there were inquiries about that, but I don't have any comment on C-Click. I think it works really well. The only comment I have is just, you know, and I don't want this to sound negative because Lorenzo did mention, like, you know, maybe the city doesn't want feedback, but we do want feedback. But the director of public works is reading this, right? And so that's acceptable now as to the engagement of the software. But let's say it just exponentially 5 times as many people started using C-Click Fix. At some point, Mr. Bray can't do that. And then we're just kind of back to, as we work through this process, maybe that's a goal. Maybe a goal of this process that is in 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, we are funding a position that does communication. Because I think that is important, because the more input that we get, the more staff time is taken away from the $30 million sewer project that Matt is kind of working on at the moment. So that's about my only comment.
So Matt, I do have just one other question. What's the average usage per week? I mean, if you had to just guess, I'm not looking
I
for,
could look back. We probably get a half a dozen.
okay,
Like they populate and they go away as fast as we can. You know, a lot of them are like rainy day projects, kind of Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock when the guys are winding down from the week and there's something quick that we can go grab, you know, at least go cut the bent stop sign down and get it back to the yard to the sign shop and get it straightened back out and put back up Monday, that kind of thing. So we get a lot of little ones that just, they pop on and they're off the same day. Kind of deal. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see more of it. I agree with Jason that if we could get this thing totally wheels going, that would be an opportunity for the city and the public information officer. Because as long as you know where they're supposed to go and you can tell that that's not a streets issue, that's a code enforcement issue, and then just reroute it over to Willow.
Mhm.
It's pretty darn easy once you get it going. So I would love to see a lot more coming through here. Not that I don't want to talk to the public, but you know, they get home from work and they're just done with dinner and sit down and they think, oh, you know what? I smacked a pothole on Minor Street this morning. Bang, bam, and they just drop it in. Just easy twist. They don't have to remember to call City Hall the next day, or you don't have to do it the moment you see it. I don't need a picture. I just need to know what's broken so I can go fix it.
Thank you.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to move along to item C, which is the development of a mission statement, objectives and timelines of deliverables. Mr. Ledbetter?
Yeah, this is where I think, you know, we can even jump into some of the backup material if you guys like. You know, we like the Garden Grove backup material on a communications policy. We can kind of see how they worked through the process. I think it's the one that looks like this.
Mhm.
So I think on page 4 of that document, but 8 of the 106 pages in front of you for the agenda, there's 5 items that are being discussed as objectives. And so I think that's like a good place for us to start. And I think that Lorenzo brought up a lot of them, right? And anything's on the table at this moment. And I think it probably would be good for, as a group, to just go around and like, how did we get here? Right? What was the instigator for both of you guys as far as what is not getting communicated? And we're just brainstorming ideas. I think would be a good place to start, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, for me, listening to Mr. Love here, you know, we have no right now. The only thing that I know that we're posting is I get the Yreka Fire Safe Council updates on kind of ready, set, go, and all the information coming. And then I'm sending that at the moment to Emily and Cindy, who are doing the majority of the posting for us on Facebook. And so there is, you know, so for me, a priority is that we're always posting Fire Safe Council information going into fire season. And maybe there's an objective that is really simple, that the city is just recognizing holidays that are coming up, and then what effect that has on the community. That way we know the 4th of July is coming up, so we should be posting information about the 4th of July, which naturally would be fireworks are not legal. So these are the kinds of things I'm thinking of, but I'm kind of curious to see what other people are thinking of. In a perfect world, I still stand by, and I don't know if we have the capacity for this, but I would like to see our website changed where there's less words and there's more videos. And the videos can be subtitled. So those that need to read would be able to read, or closed captioned. But I think that in a perfect world, we would have a video that walked you through how to use C-Click-Fix and introduced it to you, right? And we could post that on the Grapevine. It would be on our main page. All of our projects would have little vignette 3-minute videos. This project is coming, this project is in process, and that could be on there for 5 years, right? We can just have all of the historical projects that Public Works gets done, just showcasing the project, you know, because we have Carnegie that we're teaming up with the EDC. If you're not at those meetings, if you're not reading what's getting written in our newspaper, what Mr. Love is writing about, a lot of people have no idea that that's happening. So that's my ultimate goal, is that we would transition everything more to, hey, how do you do a building permit? And we would have somebody come in and film our building permit tech and the planning manager on what that entails. And it would be like a 90-second or you know, 3-minute video, because I just think that's the way that the world is going. And I certainly like to watch a video on how I change my spark plugs instead of reading about it. But that's what I do, right? Oh, I got a problem with some equipment at my house. I'm just going to get online and watch a video. I'm not reading any of this because it's just looks so foreign to me. So those are just some ideas. And I think that's kind of how informal I would like to be at the moment, if that works, because I don't feel like we've, you know, well, this is only our second meeting, but I think that we should get into brainstorming some things out here. What is it that Corey, what is it? What are the problems you want to resolve? What are the problems Colleen wants to resolve? We've heard from Lorenzo, brought up great points. We have Facebook, we're not using it, you know, so maybe there's even a guaranteed weekly, daily. I don't know. Is this a daily thing? No, pardon me. Is this a daily thing that we're doing, or is it a guaranteed weekly? That should be in our policy.
Right.
That we're mandated to post once a week or once a day. So.
Corey?
Oh, and I'm sorry, but I also throw this out to you guys. I'm sorry. because this is your meeting, right? This is a resolution. We're trying to solve this problem and you guys believe it is a problem. And so, we're here to facilitate solving it. And so, but we want to know what your issues currently are with the communication or lack thereof.
I think it's just as much as your meeting, you're a resident and you've seen, since you've been here, taken over what's working, what's not, and our website, if it needs to be changed, and the people that come in that complain of, like, say the permit or process or what the information, lack of information. So I think it's just as good to hear your input as well, because you see more of the public than coming in those doors than we do, or dealing with the staff or what they hear. So I think it's your opinion matters as well. So your first question was how I learned. When I ran for office, it was COVID. So I didn't go to door. And so when I really learned from you and then Robin Richards, she gave, came on her own time to speak to us after the election, and she really gave us the printout of what the citizens weren't being heard, or so that's really kind of opened my eyes, is her detailed report of and that was a high percentage of citizens saying they don't know where to find things or anymore, or read about city council stuff because there's no paper, really online. One of my concerns, I think my main concern is like, okay, we can come up with all these ideas of where to post, but are people going to read it? Because we post our city council online, we post what's going to be reported, and then no one shows up at the meetings, and they'll come at the next meeting and say, I'll give an example. The other night, they was talking about a lot of things that Dwayne went over. I mean, of his homeless report. That was a great presentation. He did that, answered a lot of questions for our citizens, and no one showed up. Then they come 2 weeks later and act like we haven't been doing anything or no one's talking about it. And so how is it that we reach people better? And I think maybe, as Lorenzo has talked before, and maybe I think a lot of people threw out the idea about really having a section on where you can go to find the city council meetings or whatever, A, B, C, D, a section saying, find us at, and just having that section in our newsletter with the water bill, directing people. And it's going to be harder because we do have somewhat of a lot of elderly community that don't go online, and I don't know what the answer is to help our citizens that are not on these, that most have, are very techy or on the computer. I don't know the answer. Maybe someone else has a suggestion. So I'm all for trying to get people. I would love to see more people attend our meetings and really be informed. And it's how do we get there? I mean, I'm open for anybody, but I'm trying to come up with ideas on how we can put that out there in front of them and make our, I thought I mentioned, was it last meeting? I thought our website was too, you have to scroll everywhere to get places, and it just doesn't seem. I would look at some other cities and they're just videos, squares, like city council is a box, boom, click on it, and then to pull up the city council members, the last where you can click on and view right there the last city council. It was just a meeting. It was just easy. Everything was like right in that box. You click it and then boom, it shows. You're not sitting here looking at 9 things after. And so, yeah, I would like to see that redesigned to be user friendly, but it's getting people to get the information is what, are they going to go there?
I guess along that line,
You know,
what
but we
really,
can't make people, I mean, but we can definitely put it everywhere so we know that we are, it's there, and then getting them there, and hopefully they come here or they
Yeah.
reach it.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying except one thing. And that is, if we have good communication, I think there's a difference here. I don't want to communicate to get more people to the meeting. I want to communicate what we're doing, thereby alleviating the need for them to come. So you would come to a meeting because there was an item on the agenda that meant a lot to you. But I think that the overwhelming majority of the global population is so inundated with what they have to do and their responsibilities, is that my take on this meeting, and that's why I think it's interesting to hear the different perspectives, is that we're not going to get people in here because they don't have time, but they don't know that Carnegie is going to be redone by the Economic Development Council. And how do we get something out there, something that's not just in the Siskiyou Daily News, because maybe they're not reading that. I mean, I certainly, I do now because of my role, but I
Mhm.
wasn't before taking a look at that. So I think that the intent for me on communication is to get the city's business, all that information that you guys do vote on, and disseminate that out in a very clever way where people will actually consume it and then be relatively impressed, because we did have an individual who was in here a lot about the pool and then sat through when we did, I forget what we call it, the project list. And then they ran into this guy outside and they said, I had no idea you guys were that busy. They had no clue how many projects that we were working on here. And so that's what my intent would be, is to somehow just flood the market on the grapevine with these little videos showing, look at the South Yreka water project. Look at this other project. Look at all of these capital improvement projects that are scheduled to kind of be going off the Burgess Street project and stuff like that, because I don't think people will have, I think it's probably unfair to just think we're going to pack the house every other Tuesday. So
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I guess what I was saying about people attending or making them aware, but some people don't even know when our city council meetings are. It's like, oh, when they meet, I'm shocked. And so I guess that's what, I don't think people will pack the house unless it's a very hot button item. But yeah, it's just it's alarming to me that and this is their city, and they really don't have, like I said, they don't know about Carnegie, they really don't know about Burgess. I got asked the other day, oh, how's the city paying for the Main Street project? They weren't aware of Caltrans zones. You know, so it's this, I don't know. So yeah, I think with the website and having those, but anyways, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't mean that we are gonna pack that, but anyways. I'm done.
Thank you.
Don Marie was gonna, did you have something, Don Marie? I guess while she pulls that up, to tie back to what Mr. Ledbetter was talking with the videos, I mentioned the Measure C voiceover video I did, explaining, and I still do this to this day. It's my public relations work is black and white engineering. I don't leave room in it. I try my best not to leave room in it for political sides to come into it. Because I'm public works, I'm blessed with that. It's black and white, it's engineered, it's a project. This is where the money came from. This is when we're starting. This is when we hope to be done. This is what we're doing to get there. But that one that I did was tax measure. And it was explaining why we haven't been doing the things that we were expected to do. But in this day and age, because most of us in this room our idea of receiving information was cut into 3-minute commercials, 2.5-minute commercials. It's the American way, right? We're going to blast you with Pepsi Cola ads in the middle of the Super Bowl, and you're going to go buy Pepsi. But that's changed. Now it's TikTok. Now they're 20 seconds, or there's 30, 45 seconds. There's a Facebook reel where it's 10 seconds. So I'm in full agreement with Jason on these short snippet videos. Like you're saying, squares on the website. I love that idea. Just click, I want to know about the parks. Click, oh, there's a video of Kevin talking about what we're doing in the parks this summer. That would be great. We can do that. That's again, city clerk, public information officer. Takes time from the guys in the field to come in and tell me their story as I videotape them, and I've got to cut the video and do the AV work and get it posted up. That does take time. But if we had someone to do it, perfect world, yes, all day long. I'd be cutting them weekly, to answer your question. I would be updating the website weekly with either what we did, probably what we did, and a little bit of what we're going to be planning on, because my world changes too much by the day to day. My guys show up at 7 a.m. and they get sent to all corners of the city, and by 8 o'clock, they're all scrambled at different quarters of the city. So, but yeah, a weekly touchback video thing would be pretty great. Did you get it running?
Is it like live streaming the council meeting kind of? Is that?
Does the, Lorenzo Love, does the city have its own Facebook page, own Facebook channel? Or are you dependent upon sister media councils for all that? Because they're kind of slow getting things up.
Oh, you're talking YouTube channel,
YouTube,
the YouTube.
yeah.
No, we do not have our own
It's-
City of
it's
Yreka YouTube.
Simple, it's cheap. I mean, I have my own YouTube channel. I don't know why the city doesn't. And then you could start filling up these, doing these videos. Council members can talk about the point in time, census. You put that up on Facebook. Once you have these videos on your channel, on your YouTube channel, you can plug the link into anywhere, whether it's Facebook or web page or any place, or email it to somebody that has a question.
And those presentations such as that could be snipped out of the entirety of the video and just put up as that, entitled as that, if they want to watch that whole presentation. Because I know that's a staff, we end up going back to video to double check questions of council, double check facts that were stated, things of that nature. And it's a scroll drag back through it, trying to find it in a 2.5-hour meeting. And then it takes me 25 minutes to find that one piece where a specific council member said something that I was trying to clarify in my brain. So I do like that. It's back to the video, liking the video thing, just getting them cut down to where they're manageable. To your point of not everybody would have to come to the meetings anymore if they could keep up to breast on that hot topic that they're interested in. They could, that could be clicked on, and that could be clicked on.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll still have hot button issues for sure. I mean, we're attempting to do a lot of things here. So I think we'll always have those. For me, it's not necessarily like constantly updating, but I just think that there's so much the city does and the city is doing and the city has in the works that quite frankly, I don't think a lot of people understand that you're doing the Burgess Street
I
here pretty
probably have
soon,
12
and-
videos I could do tomorrow.
Exactly. And I think that those videos last, hypothetically, the Burgess Street video could have been done last year, right? Like this is coming and it's very exciting. And then it could just sit there for 3 years. And then maybe you can update that it's completed or something, but just to showcase so people really can see the effort on all of the projects that happen, or even, Brian Meek is working on that project on the entry to Minor Park or whatever, the little things like that, showcasing some of the volunteer groups, or even Steve, who did the gazebo. Like that would be a great one to showcase his work on Greenhorn property so that people see, because if I remember correctly, I mean, that was one of the big things with Steve was people claiming that they wanted to help, but then where were they when there was something to do, if I remember that correctly. So just kind of showcasing those things that then can live throughout time, like forever on the website. And so we don't necessarily need, FDR's fireside chats, but these videos, they will last forever. And then you link them everywhere. You just throw them on the grapevine. They're on our page. I'm out in a meeting in Sacramento and I can just go to our website and show somebody what we're up to. Anyway.
So I actually have been spending a lot of time thinking about communications and which is ironic because I don't communicate well. So, but when I was going through all of this information, you know what dawned on me is, and maybe we have it, and forgive me if I don't know, but do we have a mission statement for the city? Do we have a vision statement? Because it would be nice to have all of this tied in to that vision statement so that we are sending one clear message to people. And I think that that's really important. And I think that one of the things that I liked about, I think it was Garden Grove, I don't know, or maybe it was the policy from the community in Texas, where they talked about what their target audience was and the different ways that they communicated with those target audiences. So I think that that's really important to keep in mind. But I think that in the ideal bubble world of Colleen Baker, it would be nice if we just had a mission statement and that everything was tied to that mission statement or that vision statement. And then if it fits in, great, let's do it. If it doesn't, let's save it for another time when we revise the mission statement in 5 years. I love the idea of the videos. I mean, I'm envisioning, wouldn't it be great to go on the City of Yreka's YouTube channel and everything that we do at the City of Yreka, it's like, oh, how do I change my water service?
Exactly.
Bing. It actually can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be serious, but it just, I guess I would like to see, wouldn't it be great to have videos of everything that you can do at the counter? I mean, just so that people are aware of that, makes it less scary. And then people know what they need to have before they come in. And I love the idea of highlighting projects. And I just love the idea of videos, but again, my experience with automating so much of that stuff is that you're looking at a full-time position. And to do all of this eventually. And Lorenzo brought up a great idea of a student intern. My experience with student interns was that they were absolutely great. But when they left, it was like a huge hole. And I mean, my interns went on to law school. I just have to brag about her. But for so many people coming to City Hall, I had no idea until I took office so many people are so afraid of that building. They're so afraid of government, and they're so afraid of, oh, did I ask all the questions I needed to ask? Or because I didn't ask the right question, I'm not going to get the information that I need. And I think that can all be alleviated with what's our message and how are we going to conduct business?
Yeah, I love some of the stuff you're talking about. And first to hit you with the mission vision, that's something that Juliana talks about quite a bit, that 20 years ago, there was no visioning done for the city. And so this is you guys are going to craft the visioning statement here, I would assume over the next 6 months, if not sooner, because we did have the last workshop recently. And we went over kind of demographic data at that workshop. So I think there's something there. There's also the opportunity to annually or every second year is just if it's important to the city council, they'll fund it, right? And we can pursue like a contractor that comes in and does these videos for us, and we don't need to do them. We can have a lot more polish by, I think just to throw one out there. I mean, I'd love to see Siskiyou Media Council get to that point, and I sit on that board, but they're just barely coming back out of the grave at the moment. But that is the ultimate vision, is that they get back on the COS Weed campus, that there are classes that you can take in media. And then all of a sudden we can be paying Siskiyou Media Council to record our meetings and live stream them, have better camera angles so that we can see the person speaking at the podium or see your faces while you guys are speaking. And so we can certainly pay for those. But another thing of communication that you just brought up was training, because let's say we don't do this, but I have those same feelings about walking into a government building. I don't want to go to the DMV, and it's not a pleasurable experience for me. And so that is customer service, really. And so there's an opportunity through here that maybe we're prioritizing, that we need more training on how we engage customers and how we treat people when they come in, so that they don't have that feeling, because that's what, I've been brainwashed from a very young age that the customer was always right. And so that's always been my take, because I grew up doing retail constantly. And so it just drives me crazy if I hear someone speak inappropriately on the phone to somebody calling in, even when they are just irate. You just have to sit there and listen and talk them off the cliff. So part of communication could be a strategy. And as we kind of game plan here, is that maybe we need an investment into our customer service.
Yeah. And I certainly think that we talked last meeting about town hall meetings, having town hall meetings on a regular basis, where we have structure, but yet we have time for people to actually ask questions. Like, we could feature Matt at one of the town hall meetings, and people could come and say, what about that pothole? And you talk about the projects that you're working on. I mean, I think that's important. I don't think we're ever, although again, in my bubble world that I live in, I just think that it would be so great if I never had somebody say, I didn't know that was going on, but we're never going to satisfy everybody. There's always going to be those people that don't pay attention until, oh, wait, something's passed and now I didn't know about it and I'm not happy about it. But I don't know. I'm a feeling person, so I'm all about the feel. If you walk into an office and it feels friendly, I'm going to just like instantly relax. And if, and that comes from the top. You and Retta do a great job. Matt, you do a great job with that. But I think that that's all part of communication as well. I really do think it would be fun to have, I know 2.5-minute videos are too long these days, but sometimes in government, we have to go a little bit longer because we're explaining, legal stuff. But yeah, this is how you get your dog license.
Mm-hmm.
this is, I mean, and I'd be happy to volunteer Daisy the Dachshund to star in the video. You really could have a lot of fun with it.
Councilman.
Yeah.
Chairperson Baker. It's hard to attend the meeting from back here, so I did want to show this quick play. Every morning during the ski season, this gentleman would give you what's happening, what's going on in about 30 seconds. And I won't play it, but it's great. It's humorous. It's like, oh, maybe. But it's telling you kind of when.
Hey, everybody, Hiram on the Hill, and another spectacular day here at Mount Ashland. We should have some blue skies. Winds are light. Grooming came up great. All the stuff off of the groomers is still soft. We got pushed around a lot yesterday, but if you like the soft snow, it is out there, and the base is now deep. We've got some great snow. Don't forget, we did fill up. We are sold out once again, so make sure you get online. Everything is ordered online in advance, and the parking lot did fill yesterday, so the earlier you get up here, the better your chances of not getting turned around are. Thank you so much, everybody, for helping us to comply with all of our new COVID protocols. We're seeing good mask use. We're seeing people really physically distance, but we are having some challenges in the lines. Please make sure that you have masked up before you get in line. If the line exceeds the maze, you still got to stop and try to physically distance for us. And that'll keep us open so we can see you on the mountain.
Anyway, he's famous until he got a better job in Montana, but I love the ski report from Hiram on the Hill, but now I can see you being the Hiram on the Hill for the city of Yreka.
Yeah.
Can I get it from Mount Ashland? Do I get to go up on the hill? So back to your question, and Jason already spoke to it. I don't want to overkill it, but the mission statement, the visioning statement will be coming from the grand plan of the general plan, but a number of years ago, we took all of us roughnecks down at the yard, and I was still one of them when we did this. And we had some 36-year vets in that room back then when we wrote this, and we had some new guys like me at the time. And really, to me, and in previous positions I've held throughout my career, the most elegant mission statement is succinct. And it's just that. And so we came up with the Public Works. Yreka Public Works Maintenance Division is dedicated to provide quality service to the community by maintaining safe and efficient infrastructure. Because that is everything we do in one little tiny sentence. And that's the one that all of us down there, all 12 of us in the room, finally landed on after brainstorming in meetings like this for months and months and months and months, and heated arguments about, no, we got to say more. We do more than that. It's like, no, we really don't. We finally agreed that we down there in maintenance were dedicated, and we were here to provide quality service to the community that pays us, and by maintaining safe and efficient infrastructure, which in the end of the day, we go home, that's what we did. So just short and sweet. So- Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talk about this because you guys will be doing the visioning statement, and I think Ms. Baker has got it dead on, is that we want to run questions through our vision statement or through our mission statement, and then they should answer themselves. And that should say, well, no, we're not doing that because that's not who we say we are. Or we need to change our mission statement because it's at a date, so we're on the same page. We've talked about this before, I think, or definitely with Juliana, is that, yeah, succinct and tangible, really, sometimes they could be a lot of words that don't really mean anything.
Flowery.
I've worked for a lot of corporations, so
Flowery ones.
or sometimes they're a page long too. We do everything.
Yeah. Any other comments? Anybody else want to comment on this? Steve, come on up to the podium. We're a little bit more relaxed at the ad hoc committee meeting, so.
Okay.
But I still need you to introduce yourself. for the
Steve
video.
Bradford, Yreka, 409 Evergreen. Lovely, lovely town we live in, Yreka. I'm very, very optimistic about all of the above. With all the negative stuff going on in this world, it's just overwhelming. And so the only way I could get myself into deep, deep, spiritual space is to have love. Love is the message. Message is love. I play that song almost every single day. It's an old song by a soul singer. And then the Beatles, love, 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 love. They go on and on and on. But when I walk in the DMV office and I have that in my heart or in here, it's so much easier to deal with everything else. And you can just say optimistic, but it really changes my insides tremendously, even though there's still so much, everything is so negative. And it's just constant. That's what they want. The agenda is constant discord, discrepancy, fear. That's where they want us. And they've been putting us there for a long, long time. Everything is about, questioning and doubting and, it's just crazy. But I've been after the council and the supervisors for 14 years with Lopi, the same thing with LaRue. He won't even talk to me, but we need a town hall meeting. We need a quarterly town hall meeting for about a year or maybe more, but at least a year quarterly. So we can get, because the people are going to show up, but there's only going to be maybe 50. And then they say that one went pretty good and they're going to tell their friends. And so the next one, if it's secret, if it's, they can count on it happening, then maybe more people show up at the next one. And then we get 300 or 400 people over there at the community center telling us what they want. And it's going to go 4 hours or something. Give them time, to talk and for us to talk back and forth. So we get a good idea of what the people really want. I know it's asking a lot of all you guys, but it's so critical right now. It's so critical. And every day I watch these kids, these young people, these young moms and dads over there just scramble to work. It's chaos over there every morning at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and they don't have time for anything else. I sure didn't have time when I was 30, 40 years old for this political city stuff, even though I was very much involved in the dam thing in Carmel Valley for 30 years. So, I think Jason has a very good mission statement. I've listened to him talk and we've had lunch and stuff, and he's very, very passionate about the city. And that's so different from what we've had for the last 10 years, So, I think we're heading in a good place. And but we need to get the public involved. We need this room filled because it's critical right now. We got to hear what these people, you guys don't know where to go unless you hear from the folks, what they're really feeling, Thank you. Thank you
So,
very much.
Steve, may I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
What would you like to see the city do differently with regard to the council meetings? I mean, keep
Tell
in mind that
California
we
no.
are held to so many, legal parameters. But, you talk about you would like to see more people here. And we've been talking about how to get information out
Oh,
to people. Give us
yeah.
your ideas.
Well, number one, the town hall meetings. I think that's huge. Again, California is a very corrupt state, and they're leading us down a path that just doesn't make any sense. I mean, look where we're at with the homeless. I mean, I can go on, but I don't want to get political in here. But, I mean, if I was sitting in these chairs, I'd be down in Sacramento as much as I could with my authority as a supervisor, as a city council member, pounding that desk that, you can't keep on doing this to rural towns. You're killing us, you know. One thing I wanted to say was after the meeting Tuesday night, I didn't know you guys were starting at 6. I heard 7 o'clock, 3-4 times Tuesday nights that this was happening at 7 o'clock. So I'm sorry I was so late. But I got somebody, asked about the meeting, what was going on, blah, 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 blah. And they tried to Zoom it from their car coming back from Seattle. And they couldn't hear very well what was going on in the meeting, just FYI. But the only thing I could say as far as your question is just number one, town hall meetings. I mean, we got to hear what the people, if we can possibly get them in there. I know we had one and we had how many 100 people show up several years ago, like 8-9 years ago, but we didn't follow up with anything. And then the people never heard what came of that meeting. What are we doing? We don't know what you're doing in here at all. We don't hear it. So all of this video stuff and everything sounds great. I mean, we're in that kind of world today. We can do all this stuff. So it's much different than where we were 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Anyway, thank you very much for
Thanks.
Chair, if you don't mind. So I'm hearing something you already reiterated here, town hall meetings, but I'm also hearing something that I think a lot of people have told us, and that is a better audio visual within the chambers. So I have both of those things down. And I think that the town hall meetings, if that comes out of this process, really should be adopted into the city council normal annual calendar that you guys approve every really December, I believe.
Corey, do you have any other comments that you'd like to add? Excuse me, I don't. mean to
No,
cough.
that's okay. No, it's just, I agree. And before you came, Steve, we were talking about how we get people to pay attention of what we're doing and whatnot, and getting the information out there. And so I'm disappointed, that we have 3 people here out of 7,000, whatever, that live in our town. And I would hope that if we did have a town meeting, we'd have more than 4, 5, 6, 10 people, because that's what I always said is like, okay, we hold these and then people say, yeah, we want that, but they don't show up. It's very disappointing to, so I would hope that's what I've, have encouraged, that hope people would, if we put these on, that we're really going to, and I think that's what we're talking about, how we're going to reach them to get in those seats, or even the seats here on our council meetings, because I think this is important for people to, anyway, so that's what's disappointing, is that we're trying to reach out to our citizens, and then they say they want something and then they don't show up to we have the faithfuls that show up, but then other people, they, I guess, are too busy or whatever. But anyways, I would love to have town meeting have 20, even, gosh, to have 25 or 30 would make me happy, so they get that information. So yeah, I'm for it. If we held one, I guess it's everybody reaching out to their friends and us blasting it. Oh. Yeah, we did talk about that. Come up to the, oh, sorry.
taking a poll possibly. I know I would hate to have you all show up and then we have 5 people or 25 people show up. That would be just horrific. Maybe take a poll through the Siskiyou Grapevine. I know Celia is very active in the Siskiyou Grapevine, and she gets a lot of information from people, that I hear about and stuff and what's going on. The Siskiyou Grapevine seems to be very, very active. And maybe take a poll if we had a city council or a town hall meeting, how many of you would be interested? You know, are you ready to show up? And if 10 people respond, then forget it. Nobody cares. Carry on. I guess.
But then if we could get 40 and fill this room for the first one, and then do it again, and then we're in the theater, which still is another project I need to make a video about. Because the HVAC project that we're working on right now with that, so we could have a larger venue. So I would think that the ad hoc committee, a goal coming out of, action items coming out today would be, how do we calendar this? Is that through maybe a poll? Is that we look at the rest of the calendar, like the city manager spoke to, make it annual, make it a real thing, make it quarterly, make that decision, right? And then schedule it, because I know a lot of my family is at the coast right now because school just got out and all the kids are at the coast. It's not a good month for that type of meeting. But then I think the committee could figure that out, or the next meeting, we could figure it out with the 12 that we'll have next time and the 20 that we'll have after that kind of thing. So I think maybe getting back to the mission statement of what are we doing here? I think some action items coming out would be great. Some bullet points to focus on as the committee and say, this is what we're going to shoot for by the next meeting. Otherwise, we just kind of spin our wheels and talk about how great it would be if we got everything at once, right? And that's just the director of, in me of public works, where it's, you have to have the plan. You got to do the
Right.
feasibility study first and then implement the plan, and then get the drawings done and the engineering and the geotech and then you have a street in 4 years. Because that's typically 4 to 10 years is how long it takes me to pave a street. But that's just my world, my opinion here tonight.
Yeah, I think that I kind of like a couple action items that I think have kind of been thrown out there. And one was demographic data. And I'm looking at Garden Grove still. And we have this type of information. And I think what would be a really good exercise for next time, because I think we need to start doing some exercises to get some more data, is to look at what they've done on page 13 of your packet, or 9 of the Garden Grove communications policy. They're just go through and they list all the different communication tools that they use,
Yes.
right? And then we could say why, or we don't use YouTube, but maybe we want to use YouTube. What is our intent of YouTube? And then I think we can have a conversation over what demographic we're actually hitting, right? Because we have the newsletter, and that's maybe going to hit the demographics that's not going to get on the internet. And so I think that would be really smart for us to do, because I'm sorry, I don't do a lot of this stuff online because I don't like it. And do we have Instagram, Matt?
No, our Facebook auto feeds to Twitter.
Okay, so it's
think
like, do we want this other app, right? Are we going to just continue to gain more applications? I mean, that's a question that comes up here, but I think that we have an interest in YouTube. We have Facebook, we have the newsletter. We can get a list of all of the communication tools that we have, and then we can write a little paragraph about why we have them, what's the intended use, and then maybe start to get, we're going to use the Facebook grapevine X days per month, X days per week. And then we're going to start to build our policy, right? And then the same thing with the town hall meetings. How many of those do we want? What is the intent of those meetings? Who are we trying to communicate with? And I think that the polling is a great idea. And I think hopefully by next meeting, Juliana will be here to show Citizen Lab.
Right.
Because that is all about polling, where we can have a topic. Think of any topic that's happened in the city in the last 10 years and say, we can poll the community, and then they don't have to come here. They can tell us what they want us to do on a certain topic, give us some level of direction. So I think we'll be able to use that software to basically just say, the city is looking at doing X town halls next year, and these are the probable dates. Vote on which date you want to see us do. And then we'll just, that way it's democratic and we already know who wins, and that's the date we're gonna hold it, because as Matt said, people are on, you know, when the smoke comes in, we all run to the Oregon coast too, so.
Not long after Juliana was hired onto the city staff, she dropped a number on me that blew my mind demographics wise. And this isn't her number. This is data.com or something. But in 2020, Yreka, California had a population of 7,600 people with a median age of 34.9. Our community is much younger than the locals think. As I'm a local, and she asked me to guess, and I guessed way high. I was floored.
Yeah,
So
we've
the
gotten
demographics
younger.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can break that down further for us, and that helps us target. Is it a poll? Is it a poll on Facebook?
Yeah.
Where is the poll
Right.
placed, right?
Right.
Is it in the newsletter?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's what we're trying to answer is
Yeah.
not only how do we reach them, but who are we trying to reach? We have to know who our target audience truly is.
Exactly.
Then you have 18-year-olds. We had one here at the podium 3 months ago, super involved. He's probably gonna be on council someday. You know, I forget what he was talking about
Oh, prom.
for prom.
Yeah.
So you've got kids like that, all the way up to 85-year-olds, up 90-year-olds up here, you know, that are highly involved. Selma sat right there for every meeting. I think she missed 2 meetings in the whole years I was here.
Uh-huh.
So it's a wide spectrum of, you know,
Yeah.
but this committee, I mean, that's, I think what we're tasked with is we have to know that,
Yes.
number one. But where are the numbers? Juliana's got a bunch coming out of the general plan. And then how do we involve the pockets? Because there's gaps in those that create that 34.9.
Well, I think that if it pleases this group, what I would love to do is start to get into the exercises. And so next meeting, I am advocating that we go over some of the notes that I have here and some of the different, all of the different tools we have to communicate. And then we start drafting what the intended use is for those items, and it'll start to paint a very clear picture on how often we should answer certain questions. How often should we be using this? You know, the newsletter is turned into quarterly. Does that need to increase to monthly? And we also need to be very cognizant of what that means to the staff, obviously. But if we can do that exercise, I think we'll start to actually craft a piece of paper here. And so I have kind of short videos, YouTube channel. We need a vision statement, customer service questions, town hall meetings. How many of those? Upgraded audio visual and the council chambers, a better use of Facebook. Need to get demographic data and a plan. We'll do the citizen lab demo as well. I'm also just brainstorming like who, you know, at some point, if we do want to do certain aspects that we're not currently doing, what resources are there locally? Is this, you know, what partnerships do we already possibly have that can actually fill this need for us? But yeah, I would say, why don't we put together, I think Retta had done this actually at one point, a list of all the different formats we have for communication. And then why don't we as a group talk about them and then craft a paragraph statement about what it does, what we're using it for, who we think we're reaching. And then that's a really good draft starting point to start documenting things. So we don't feel like we're just kind of talking in circles too. So, and
Yeah.
City manager.
Just have a
and
couple more things.
chairperson.
Oh,
I was just gonna mention, we're doing a demo next week on our website redesign visioning. Because I think it's the 26th, we've scheduled that with Civic Plus.
yeah, it was ironically enough, Retta got news from Civic Plus that we have an opportunity to upgrade our website right now. So it's perfect timing to do this exercise and change the format of the website into something that looks and appears more user friendly.
Thank you.
just a couple things to add is maybe in addition to maybe one town hall meeting a year, is a lot of cities do a state of the city where the city manager gives an update of what he's done with his staff, and then also when the budget passes, what our budget's going to be, and what is, you know, kind of a vision of the city going forward for that next couple of years or next year,
Uh-huh.
I think that would be great too. I don't think city of Yreka's never had us, I don't know correctly, I don't think they've ever had a state of the city where they get up and talk about pretty much kind of what we're talking about here, the vision of like, who are we, where we're going to be, what's changing. So that would be good. And then real quick on there's a software program out there where you can put in where it's a host where you can do the same information. So once you type it in or whatever the video it is, it goes to your YouTube, it goes to your TikTok, it goes to your Facebook. So you just have to do one thing, blast it. You can schedule a time and date when that goes out, hit it, and then it hits all platforms. So you're not sitting there going to each one. It goes to all, as many we want to have. So you're not taking time to go to YouTube, post it, go to here, post it. So there is that
Mhm.
just one thing, and boom, it's out to every single platform out there.
Mhm.
That's it. Just wanted to talk those two things.
Thank you. Thanks. So the last thing I have on the agenda is item D, a recorded transcript from May 11th, 2023.
Yeah, and I believe this is just would be essentially kind of if we were to be approving minutes and stuff like that. I believe Retta, was that the intention, is that this is just the last meeting that we had?
Yes, it was just provided as information.
Yeah, so just if
Thanks.
anybody cares to look at it, but I think I have good direction, and we said this was going to be a process, and it is. We're obviously working on a million things at the city, and so we're committed, for those in the audience, that this was going to be a 12 meeting process at minimum. This is meeting 2, and so we're doing one every month. So there's not necessarily going to be major changes that are going to happen between this meeting and the next meeting with our communication, although I do agree with Mr. Love that we should be making some posts about the 4th of July. We need to be more cognizant about what we're currently doing and posting about on Facebook, more active, so we can do that. And I will engage the two people that are tasked with that at the moment. It's just not their normal position. So, but I think this exercise is really good, and hopefully that'll lead to another exercise, and we will have a document at the end of this to showcase and to bring these ideas to fruition. I mean, I think if I were to be a betting man, we're going to have a town hall meeting.
Right on. I love town hall meetings, and I love the state of the city. I have envisioned that. You can make them lots and lots of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so before we adjourn the meeting, anybody have anything they'd like to add? Final words?
Bradford, somehow we got to instill passion, because people have, I don't know, what do they have? I go up in these mountains. The longer I'm here, the more I just love this place. I mean, I was just up in Baker City, and that place is really, really attractive. But, moving and all of that kind of stuff, But, if we can make this city what we really want it to be, what, you guys been working hard, but, there's no passion. I know Jason has it. I have it. Matt has it. Colleen has it. You got to have passion to be on a board. But the leaders have to bring that forward, I guess, or what? The people don't, they're waffling around, they're paying absorbent amount of money at the superstores for the markets and everything. And what do they have to look forward to? Just same old, same old. The city itself is improving. I mean, even along Oregon, these houses that used to be really, really dreadful looking are coming around a little bit, So there is little things happening. New people are moving in, fixing up some old Victorians and different things like that. But somehow on the website, we got to instill passion. that's a key word for me is passion, because that brings so much more to the table, love and respect and honor and tradition and all those other wonderful things that we grew up with. So thanks again.
Thank you. So yeah, I think that it is an exciting time to be here on the council. I know that we all love this city and we all have really good ideas, and I'm just really excited to see where we're going to go with this committee. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7:34. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll hit the thing for you.